Hey, everybody. It's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update with two very special guests today. I have with me the CEO of Wadzpay. This is Anish Jain, and then the VP of Marketing, which is Stas Madorski. And I'm just thrilled, and I know a lot of other people are thrilled too, to hear what is going on with them because, I think they have a lot going on. And so I will let them give a little bit of an introduction because I'm sure some of you who are on the channel might not be familiar with Wadzpay or XinFin or XDC because, as you know, I cover a lot of different top 100 usually, but I'm reaching out because the blockchain space, especially blockchain with the use of cryptocurrency, the two of them together is just exploding with growth. So it's exciting to see that this project is doing the same. So Anish, thank you so much and welcome. And please let everyone know a little bit about your background and what it is Wadzpay's doing.
Sure, and thanks, Eri, for having us. It's a real honor, and it's good to reach out to the community and talk to them as well. I've been following up all the action that's going on, and we are really overwhelmed with the interest that's been shown in the project. It's been long coming. A little about myself. So I've been shy of 20 years in the payment space. I started my career with the airline space. Then I joined American Express Business Travel in India. And I rose through the ranks, worked with American Express globally, built a couple of businesses for American Express before I was headhunted by MasterCard. I pretty much built the entire MasterCard prepaid card platform globally, including the large Travelex acquisition. So all these multi-currency cards which you see today were designed and conceptualized sometime in 2010, and I was leading that for MasterCard. Worked with MasterCard till about 2016, 2017, and of course, a lot of chatter was already happening in these payment companies about digital assets or the future of digital assets. Not entirely in terms of it will be BTC, Ethereum, etc., but digitization is something which will definitely happen. And on the back of that, Wadzpay was conceptualized. We are essentially a payments company. We are in a way renewing the rails in which, or renewing the way in which payments are made or done. Consumer experience at this point in time is at an all-time high, right? I mean, it's really good. There are super apps, there are hyper apps, etc. However, when you look at it in the back end, it's still what was designed in the 1970s, 1980s, and it's really not moved. It's really not changed. So if you're making a transaction in Tokyo or in Dubai, the chances of that transaction getting routed through Seattle or Visa or St. Louis for MasterCard is still 90 out of 100. And that's where, so we talk about PDPA, we talk about all these regulations which are kicking in, but technology has really not moved that much from a payment standpoint. So the consumer does not see what's really happening in the front end because the experience is so good due to these applications. But our objective is to replace those mundane systems with blockchain. Blockchain has its upsides. It is immutable. It can store data. It can save data. It can provide you validation on the fly, so you can check where the transaction is and what is happening with it. And you can reroute transactions as you want. At the same time, we also feel that blockchain is not ready for the consumer. I mean, you cannot give blockchain as a technology to the consumer. And hence, we work on a hybrid methodology. And that's what Wadzpay is all about. So we are replacing data centers or with cloud-based computing and putting blockchain at the center of it. And then connecting those various technologies with existing consumer experiences or consumer apps. So that's what Wadzpay is all about. We've been in the business since 2018, and like I just said, it's a complicated development, and now we're ready to go. So we've launched our first customer last month, and we will be launching a few more towards the end of this year, and we'll continue to launch. So that's what Wadzpay is all about.
Oh, congratulations. That is a great intro. I appreciate that. And yeah, it doesn't. This space has taken a little bit of time, but it's really starting to take off now. And it is a step-by-step process, so I'm really glad that it's going well for you. All right, Stas, introduce yourself. Thank you so much for making this happen too today.
No worries. Thanks so much for reaching out and having us as well. It's a real pleasure, and like Anish said, an honor as well. So my introduction is a little bit simpler, I guess. My name is Stas. Marketing runs through my blood. I think if you cut me, really, marketing bleeds out. I got involved in marketing from a young age, even as young as 13, really. And it's just been a massive passion of mine. So straight out of university, I moved to Singapore. I was living in Australia before. I was born in Russia, in case you're wondering where the strange name is coming from. And I was working for Procter & Gamble and P&G. I made my way up the ranks very quickly as well. And I was working on various brands like Pantene, Herbal Essences, and I actually got the privilege of launching a brand into Japan, which is called Hair Recipe, which you might have seen at some of the drugstores. So I've worked in the Japan market specifically. That was kind of my focus overall. And eventually I left P&G for other pastures and other pursuits, some other passions to do with music and some other various things. I've consulted for various blockchain-based companies, and I started working for Wadzpay because I connected with Anish. Just thought the vision was absolutely phenomenal. Payments is really fundamental in our everyday life. It's the thing that really drives our life. We make payments every single day, sometimes every single hour, every single day, and making sure that the experience of payments is cost-effective. It's simple and not even something that should be at the forefront of our mind when we're making payments, is something that triggered my passion for this. So we've been working together for a while now, and it's been an amazing journey. And I think I really personally appreciate the community also getting behind us and jumping on our vision, what we're trying to do in this space with so much passion and excitement, really, that we're seeing in all of the community channels right now. So yeah, it's a good place to be right now.
Yeah, that will make your job fun. And you're right, payments touch everybody's lives. And P&G, by the way, in my opinion, was probably one of the best training grounds for you, or best places to get experience. It's one of those companies that you can take a lot away from because they do a lot of things so correct. Yeah, that's good. They're a big employer here in Japan.
Massively, yeah.
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 They're more into the countryside, like in the Kuma prefecture and stuff, but they do have a lot
of plans, and also a Kobe office too.
Yeah, and I think also in not Hamamatsu, but help me out. It's Shizuoka. Shizuoka has a lot of. Okay, so I want to jump to this interesting tweet that I saw, and it was just a couple of days ago. Anish, you tweeted out that Dubai is turning out well. WTK found its new home on the XDC network. I want you to explain what is it that I need to know? What is it that you're talking about here?
So first of all, it's a little bit of a cheeky tweet, right? And I've been pushed by Stass, and my buttons have been pushed by Stass to start reaching out, to start telling people what we're doing, right? So it's my effort, and I hope I've not confused people further with my effort. So apologies in advance. But yeah, so I'm currently in Dubai. I've been here for a week. My trip was supposed to be for a week, but it's been extended by another 2. So, like I said, we are a Singapore-based company. The way we are structured is we have the Wadzpay Worldwide, which is a global company, and then we have regional headquarters. So for Asia's headquarter is Singapore for Asia and Pacific, and headquarters for Middle East and Africa is Dubai. And that's what I'm here to set up. So we've just hired 2 new people, and we've just gotten approval to hire 13 more by the end of the year. So we are expanding. Yes, we have signed some really interesting deals in the region. Those are pretty large deals, and you would start seeing the Wadzpay logo being thrown around quite a lot in this region very soon. So we have done some amazing work in Dubai, in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Bahrain and Egypt. And we hope and we're looking forward to this region picking up pretty much exactly at the same time as Asia Pacific. So there's going to be a lot of chatter happening. WTK finding its new, sorry.
No, I said really excellent.
So WTK finding its new home at XDC. We love XDC. They are amazing partners. I come from a payments background. Blockchain is not my, or protocols is not my expertise. I understand how to connect technology, what benefits we can reap from a certain technology. But then I depend on experts such as Stas in our team or other development experts in our team and our partners such as XDC Networks, XinFin Network, etc. And they are an amazing group, set of people. And they've given us a lot of direction in terms of how and where we are headed. They've, of course, built a huge trading finance platform themselves, which is doing really well. We are essentially a payment company with three core products: issuance, acquiring, and remittances. From a settlement standpoint, one of the largest pain areas for merchants over years has been the cost of settlement, which is MDR, merchant discount rates. And with WTK, we intend to not charge the merchant, but start incentivizing the merchant. And it's a very interesting project, right? I mean, currently the merchant is paying 1.6%, 1%. In certain market sizes, 3-4% as fee. But with the WTK coming in, it will change. So the merchant gives us more volume. He gets incentive on that volume rather than being charged for that volume. So we are kind of moving the market from an issuer-dominated market to an acquirer-dominated market, and that's where programs such as buy now, pay later, etc. will keep us. So XDC is an excellent rail, and that's where WTK is moving to. We will, of course, maintain other protocols as well on the WTK token. But I'll let Stas take that on in terms of more details what we're doing.
Definitely, yeah. So XRC is a protocol. XRC is it's built with remittances and payments in mind. It's built with moving money in mind. So of course the TPS stats are quite good. The fee structure is fantastic, and it really puts the power back in the hands of the consumers and the merchants and everyone else, opposed to the issuers like the old world. Yes, to kind of decode the tweet a little bit, WTK will be available on XRC. And I know a lot of people have been asking that question, so definitely that will be happening. The how of it will be published at a later date, so we'll have a full how-to guide and articles explaining how that's going to happen. At the same time, we believe in consumer choice. So by putting your blinkers on and being focused on a specific protocol, that's putting all of your bets towards one specific player who may or may not in the future be the best protocol to use. So we believe that people need to have that choice to decide about which protocol they wish to use, about which fee structure makes sense, about which speed of the protocol is the best one to use as well. So right now we believe that XRC is one of the best players out there. We also are quite interested in Ethereum as well, because we are on ERC20 right now. That's the protocol WTK was launched on. And with the advent of sharding, which is happening, we believe it this year, or maybe in the next few years, if you're more realistic with all the delays that have happened, that could change things massively as well. So we see all these protocols as potential partners, as collaborators, and as essentially as and we want consumers to really have the full flexibility and the full choice to decide how and why and when and for how much they wish to make their transactions and their payments with.
Yeah, I think the flexibility is important. I think it's a good strategy. So there is a little bit, I think, more to when I was into the channel that was very active on Telegram with the community members. They wanted to know, they wanted a little bit more information on the overview of the WTK token with its burn schedule and its circulating supply, just a little bit more. They wanted to drill down a little bit on that.
Definitely, and tokenomics are obviously very important, and it's great that this community actually looks at that, because to be honest, looking at a lot of the other communities, people don't really deep dive into it. They're just looking at pricing, and pricing is all that matters. They're looking at hype, and I guess the key fundamental difference of what we're seeing from the XDC community and the WTK community is people actually want to understand the product. And it's very humbling to have that, because as all of us who live and breathe our product and our company and our vision and what we want to do and transform in the payment space, it's great that people actually spend the time to get to know us at that deep level, as opposed to just posting memes and just being focused on pricing. So with us, we will be actually launching a revised tokenomics model very soon, and we can't wait to bring it to the community. This is based on community inputs. I think the tokenomics are already incredibly attractive, which is why a lot of people are behind the account. Behind our movement, I should say. We have a very aggressive burn schedule versus a lot of the other tokens out there. We think that supply needs to be relatively scarce in the payment space, especially on our token, so that it's more attractive to transact in and use WTK in the future. So I look forward to bringing you a revised tokenomics document and also a revised white paper, because again, we've been very receptive and we've taken on the inputs of the community, and we really spend a lot of time, hours every day, going through everyone's posts and learning from our community, because there's a lot of fantastic brains in there as well. So I can't wait to announce that to you very soon.
Good. I hope we see it this year. That would be great.
Definitely.
As far as collaborations with I know you're going to be on the XinFin platform, but do you see yourself having any collaboration with XDC in a out of the box method, somehow, some way?
Yes,
or will they be independent?
definitely. Yes, no. We are looking at those collaborations and where we can have those collaborations. Like I said, XinFin or XDC already has a very strong trade finance platform. We are building a remittance platform. The difference between the two is, of course, one is commercial for B2B purposes, the other is P2P for P2P purposes. However, the mechanics are pretty similar. The liquidity pool could be shared. There could be other things such as messaging systems which could be shared. Correspondent bank accounts details or how we access into each other's network could be shared. So it's going to be a very nicely knit and integrated ecosystem that we're trying to build, wherein XinFin continues to do what it does very good, and we pretty much bring in the consumer aspect or the consumer side of things. And because there is an established use case which XinFin has already developed, we can just plug into it. And of course, there are large numbers that we're looking at from a remittance perspective as well. They're pretty much the similar corridors that we're looking at as well. So rather than reinventing the wheel, we are partnering with the best, and also elevating the consumer experience in that process. So yeah.
Yeah, leveraging each other's strengths is, again, I think, a really smart strategy. Well, I know also too, you're going towards the CBDC route, and I think that that's not for everybody, but it seems like it's a focus of yours, and you're gonna focus on this interoperable layer, which I know is I'm a fan of quant, I have to tell you. So I'm just kind of personally, I just want to know, like, how does your solution for that interoperability with a digital asset, how is it different? How is it unique?
See, again, what we are looking at, what we have done is we have looked at existing processes when it comes to payments, right? So if I want to exchange my US dollars for Singapore dollars, so I go to a money exchange, I give in my US dollars, and then I take my Singapore dollars and I walk away. With CBDC, it's going to be my EUSD and ESGD in times to come. Now, how does that happen? Because a physical money exchange store may or may not exist in the future. We don't know. But there will be a money exchange store in the cloud, and that's the Wadzpay interoperability ecosystem. And that's where our relationship with XDC and others also become very interesting, because that's where you create liquidity or you require liquidity and you use liquidity. So it's something which is really, really interesting. It's something which we are watching very closely, because MAS in Singapore, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, is testing routes with France. They're running Project Ubin. There's Project Ever, which is in Saudi Arabia, that we're working on as well. So there's a lot which is going on. But for a Singapore dollar or a US dollar or a British pound to connect into 150 different countries is impossible. And that's where they require rails. They require cloud-based money exchange houses. And that's where we come in the picture.
Yeah, why it's so exciting, because these new digital transformations are opening up brand new opportunities.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely. And that's where a lot of things, again, decentralization as good as it is, but a lot of semi-decentralization or centralization would happen, because, again, most of the CBDC would run on private chains, and that takes the complexity to a different level. But yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting space, and it will continue to evolve over the next 5 to 10 years. But the good thing is, I think we believe 2021 to 2023 is going to be the most exciting time. Lots of this new stuff is going to come out. We're going to test lots of types of transactions as well. And the good thing is, in the past, as a fintech, if you go into the regulator and you spoke to him about doing something new, your chances of getting into the door was 1 in 100. If you have something like what we're doing, your chances of getting through the door is 101 out of 100. So we've had some easy access, and we've had some really good conversations.
Yeah, the runway is long, and I think you're right. The amount of development in the next 2 years is going to be just so amazing. Yeah. So with this growth, you're going to have to build I know you're building out your team. You've been building out a team. You have a new human resource person. Stas is fairly new. I'm just kind of curious. Tell us a little bit about how you go about building the team, and who on the team is new that you'd like to give a shout out to.
I'd like to give a shout out to everyone, but there's so many of us. And Stass is actually not new. Stass has been part of the journey for a very long time.
I didn't know. Sorry, Stass.
There used to be times when Stass and I would be exchanging notes at late night and trying to fix our website, and trying to put the right message out. And we started at those times. So we were literally a garage build company, and till December we were 4 people. Huddling our way. Of course, we had the developers, outsourced developers, etc. But since January, we now have a development center in Slovakia. We're building a brand new development center in Delhi, India, and we've hired some really, really smart people recently. Of course, Priyanka has just come on board. She used to be consultant at Wonderful Bank. We have Venkat, who's head of service delivery. Dhiren, he comes from Payoneer. He was the head of product. There's several other people who will be joining over the next 3 to 4 months, and we'll continue to expand the team. We are a solid team of 35 now. Our projections are 120 by Q1.
Yeah, so it was quite interesting to see how quickly Wadzpay really grew. Like Anish said, there were 4 of us all until December last year. We were huddled on balconies and almost, to use his analogy, garages to try and build this company up. And now, if I click my fingers in quite a short period of time, all of a sudden we just have such a massive team. And to be honest, I'm always struggling to remember people's names now and what their positions and what they're working on. it's quite an interesting place to be, because before it was basically myself and Anish and a few others, and we would call each other up through the wee hours of the morning working on things and making sure that all our partnerships are in place, all of our website, all of our marketing materials are out. And now we just have such a massive team of amazing people. And what I've also really appreciated is that we make sure that we hire the best out of all the industries. The team is genuinely a real quality team. And in a way, and whilst I don't like using the word fortunate when you kind of overlay it with COVID, but through COVID, a lot of people pivoted and wanted to change what they were doing for work. They wanted to have the flexibility of working remotely. And that kind of gave us an opportunity to really shop around and find the best talent. So really, the people who are on board are just incredible people, incredible minds and brains from all sorts of fields, whether it's marketing, the payment space, or the technology space. So I'm learning a lot from every single person who joins. And like Anish said, Priyanka is a fantastic hire as well, because of her experience working with the World Bank Group, again, from the payments and finance space. And everyone really has a fascinating story to tell about what they went through COVID. And we're really happy for all of them to be wonderful members of our family.
Yeah, well, that's been a real upside for you, for businesses that can thrive on a virtual online business. I think it really has been an advantage. And I'm happy to hear that. And I'm really glad to see, not remembering people's names is a luxury problem. So I would be really happy to have that problem if I was in a startup, that's for sure. So I'm curious, Anish, what competitors are you keeping your eye on? And if you, I don't want to hear like, oh, we don't have competitors, because everybody has some competitors. And also, then what is your competitive edge?
See, the stance that we have taken, and again, because coming from a payments background, it was our job. Even when I launched the prepaid card program for MasterCard, it was part of my job to get regulations right. And for us, we are pro-regulation, we are pro-banking, we are pro-financial institutions, and we believe that there's been a little bit of an unfair treatment towards financial institutions, where they have not been able to come up this curve, and we see banking kind of going down a path which looks like pretty bad for banking in the long. So we are enabling banking systems or banking financial institutions to become a part of this amazing ecosystem and become part of this whole blockchain journey. So there is competition, of course. There's competition in various aspects of what we do. We cover a very large variety of products, which generally only organizations such as large payment players would do. Usually fintechs would pick one or two products and they would go and run with it. So yes, there are fintechs who are solving a problem in remittance. There are fintechs who are solving the problem on acquiring side, issuance, BNPL, etc. But we are trying to manage all of those with a very different outlook towards what we do. So there is competition. There is more product-based competition than what we are doing holistically. But there is emerging competition as well. And it's good to have competition, because we get to improve because of competition. Our competitive edge so far has been, as I said, because we are more supportive of regulations being in place. So it kind of works as a competitive edge, but it also slows us down at times. So we would only launch a program when we have regulatory clearance, or there is some kind of understanding with the regulation that this could become a law or a regulation in the future. And for that, we need to work with the financial institution and walk into the regulator there, get approvals around that. So I think that remains to be our competitive edge. We are viewed as the right people doing the right thing in the industry, even though it might be taking time. So yeah, I hope that answers.
Yeah,
and I think another edge that we potentially have is, it's a term I use, blockchain fanboys, which I think permeates through the cryptocurrency and digital currency and blockchain space. So people approach various protocols and blockchains with the same fervor as they would with BTS and any big idol sort of group, right?
I believe you know who they are.
Of course. So people kind of rally behind what they usually have invested behind, and just refuse to acknowledge that there may be better products out there in the market. So we approach the market as a fully flexible approach. We want to wait and see and accept all the protocols because we don't know what is going to happen many years from now. Already in the past even 6 months, the space of protocols and the space of transaction speeds and fee structures and ways of thinking towards how transactions can go through has completely radically shifted to where it was just 6 months before that. Right now you have big players such as XinFin, such as the Solana network, and old players such as, of course, the ERC networks and Ripple and all of them. And really, there's just so much choice and so much flexibility. So we go at it with an open mind. And as I've mentioned before, we want people to have the choice and the flexibility of making their own decisions. At the end of the day, many years from now, there will probably be a most adopted protocol, which will be the best protocol because the consumer choice, the business choice, is always going to gravitate towards the most rational and most idealistic one. So we really want to put the choice back in the minds and in the hands of the people who may use our networks of Wadzpay and the networks that the partners wish to use in the future as well. And I think that thinking, as logical and as obvious as it sounds, is unfortunately not something that is very common within this space. People really attach themselves towards a specific protocol, which is why we also see all of the other protocols, whether it's Ripple and XinFin, as has been recently announced. There are partners, there are people who we would like to do business with in the future if we are not already doing business with them now. We complement them and we allow this interoperability to occur between all these different protocols, which right now purely function as vertical silos. There's not much interaction between them. There's inelegant wrapping solutions between some of them. But really they exist in their own fundamental space, and like, it's us, it's my way or the highway, to use that quote.
Yeah, it's yet to be seen if it's going to all migrate to one, but I kind of am taking the opinion right now, at least on the short term, there's going to just be lots of solutions out there. And I think that a customer is probably going to use 3 or 4 different solutions at the same time, depending on what it is they're trying to achieve. So, and the space is so huge that there is room for lots of people to offer lots of different niche solutions.
And exactly, Eri. I think at the end of the day, when we're making decisions on payments in our everyday life, we don't think about the protocol. We're not thinking, is this a SWIFT? Is it an ACH transaction? Is it a gyro transaction? It's an afterthought. At the end of the day, we just want the transfer to happen in the easiest, most cost-effective way to us. And that's what we really want to enable. We don't want people to get bogged down about what technologies this are ultimately using. As long as it works, and it works very well, it should become an afterthought, because payments can bring a smile to everyone's face, and it's the reason we launched the Make Every Moment Special with Wadzpay campaign as well. We want things to be simple and easy, and we want people to have the pleasurable outcome of being able to obtain something that they absolutely love and they've been looking forward to, whether it's a pair of shoes or a holiday or an education for their family, for their kids. You shouldn't be thinking about what protocol is this on. You should be just thinking about the end outcome and results.
That's right. And I think when I go to the convenience store here in Tokyo, I'm not exaggerating, there must be 13, 14, 15 different ways I can pay for that transaction. And it works, and so I think that flexibility is fantastic for the end user, and that's really what the end user wants. Yeah. Everybody's talking about the ISO 20022. And I just want to know, is it important for your strategy, or is it going to make a big difference for your business? There's a lot of talk in the community about this.
Yeah, ISO are standards which basically design or tell how technology should be run, or basically these are certifications which happen for various types of ISOs. ISO is not really an important aspect for our business. We are in the B2B space, so we would provide technology through an API or through a system into the banking applications or a remittance house applications or the remittance house backend. What is more important for us is penetration testing, etc., that our system is foolproof and it works. We do not interact with the customer directly. We do not store customer data. We do not see customer data. We do not see client information, etc., because all of that is encrypted. It's kept in a very different place. That being said, we are in the process of getting certain certifications, and that's more for the purposes of where it's needed by the regulator in certain markets. But also these certifications are not a standard, one standard fits all, right? So if you are in Indonesia, then it's a different ISO. If you are in Bahrain, then it's a different ISO, or it's a different need from the regulator. So as a business, no, we do not need it. What we do need is penetration testing. There are some other testings which we also run, which are more important for the integrity of the system. In terms of how we manage or getting our company certified or getting those certifications, that's important when we are dealing with a certain regulator or a certain financial institution. And based on those means, we go through that process. And we would have that ISOs in certain markets with certain clients. But as an organization, we are not required to.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think people are making more of a big deal of it from the United States than maybe in other parts of the world. So when I went into the Telegram, sorry?
Because in the United States, companies such as payment companies have been established for a very long time. And I've worked for two of them out of the big three. And I know how those standards have evolved, or how they've been kept, or what happens there. Not pointing a finger at anyone, but those standards were designed for a certain purpose. Those standards apply in a certain market. If you go deep into those standards, you'll know that it only applies either in the United States or either in a certain market, or either one product which you're not even using. So it's a little wishy-washy when it comes to ISOs. But as I said, wherever it's a requirement by the regulator, we will make sure that we fulfill that requirement.
Yeah, makes sense. So Telegram, the group, there were some specific questions. I heard you already say that something is going to happen with Bahrain. I heard you say that, right? Something's going on there. I also got the question about, is there anything going on in Russia? That was a country that was mentioned. Also in what's going on in Europe.
So let me just clarify that, for everybody's interest. We are very active in Southeast Asia right now. In South Asia, we have our first product in South Asia. We will have it by the end of the year in 2 more markets in South Asia, plus another active market in Southeast Asia. Bahrain, we are really happy with the discussions that we are having. And we are active right now in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates. These are the markets that we are active. We are very active in Canada right now. And we are getting active in Europe. We haven't touched Russia yet. And that's not part of the strategy at this point in time. And that's where we are.
Yeah. Another question that came out is someone asked if you were going to leverage an API at all for third parties. And they used PayPal as an example of how PayPal builds out their volume with those APIs.
Yes. Very good question, and very timely. We just finished testing our APIs yesterday, and they all went through with flying colors. So we are building several API subsets, and those APIs would be available as standard APIs, et cetera, over the website as well, where people can download the documentation and start connecting into us. So those will be available in November. But yes, those are already being worked on.
Superb. And the last question out of the community was about a wallet for WTK.
Yes. So WTK is coming on our ecosystem. And again, the delay was first figuring out where WTK and how it runs. Is it ERC20? Is it XRC or whatever? And we've made up our mind now. So we've started the integration process for WTK as well. WTK will be fully available by December, and the testing will begin somewhere in November. So just to, I'm trying to put all rumors on side and answering questions straight up. That's the plan. And of course, WTK is already available for merchants to start settling. But again, the program around how we start incentivizing the merchants will begin somewhere in Q1.
Okay.
Next
All
year.
right.
Another thing also, we definitely wanted to say thank you to the community for the questions as well. The community has been completely blown our minds, really, honestly. I alluded to it previously about how intelligent people are and the fact that they're actually willing to do the research and try to understand the space that we are in. It's a community unlike any others that I've seen. I personally own quite a few digital assets, and I've been in those communities, and the discussions are just, it's like night and day. I would believe that our community really has the most intelligent, most rational people who are willing to really get down to the nitty-gritty and spend time understanding what it is that we do and how we are trying to transform the lives of people all around the world, whether they're the underbanked, the unbanked, or consumers like you and me, and businesses as well. So it's been mind-blowing. I spend more time than I should trolling through through all the messages that get sent in the rapid space. I've gotten on flights, and 2 hours later, we have literally thousands of messages at times of people discussing about what it is, what we do, and just spending a lot of positive love and energy. And it's really encouraging as well, especially because, as we said before, we started off essentially in a garage/balcony of just 4 people and us against the world, trying to reinvent and redefine this space, which is dominated by massive players. And now we have all these people who are really behind us and have our back, and it's amazing to finally be able to smile and be welcomed into a family of people.
Yeah, you're lucky. And I know a lot of people are going to ask about why do they only have the token on one location, Bitmart? Why? What's with that? Because it's a great website. They do KYC, and they are offering a tremendous amount of selection. But, just one place always feels a little bit, what's going on? That's kind of strange. So why just one exchange?
And it's a bit ironic, right? Because we keep talking about choice, but yet we are only available on one exchange. So essentially, we started out with Bitmart, and we also believe in the quality of partnerships. So we have been working very closely with them. We've run various campaigns through them as well. At the same time, having a one-stop shop where we can really monitor and have our focus on this shop, especially because back then we were just such a small team. It really made sense for us rather than spreading ourselves too wide and having to work with so many different partners. So developing that quality partnership over a period of time really made sense to us from a strategic standpoint. However, we have heard the community, and whilst I'll probably be in a bit of trouble for saying this, we will be launching on other exchanges. And we are very excited about one of the exchanges that we'll be launching very soon. It's a really, really top exchange. It's top 20 by volume. I know the community has been behind it quite a lot as well. And we have heard you, and we straight away sprung into action. So we're looking forward to developing another strong partnership, figuring out how our marketing efforts can run through that exchange as well, how our collaborations will be, So far, the discussions we've had with the exchange, and the reason why we chose them as well, is because we really see it as a win-win partnerships, extending beyond just a listing, extending into other various business opportunities that we can enable by collaborating closely, which is really vital for us, because just putting a token on an exchange it's just ensuring there's more liquidity and more availability to other people. But registering on exchange is easy, but creating a business opportunity by virtue of being on another exchange is something else. And we're always about driving our core business, our base business, of course, Wadzpay, as opposed to just the token, which will reap rewards for all other aspects and sub-businesses that we may have in the future. So we look forward to sharing and announcing when we are able to who this exchange is. I'm sure everyone in the community will speculate and make their guesses though, but yeah, it's exciting times.
Well, no doubt everybody right now is doing a Google search on the top 20 exchanges and going through the list. It's good. I just hope that, when you do get on other exchanges, sometimes the exchanges will offer some staking rewards or some different kinds of pairs. And I think, again, it goes down, like you said, to the choice. And I think it's a good thing for the ecosystem. So all right.
So we will have the exchange announcement by the end of this month. Okay. And we will also have programs such as staking, etc., coming in by end of this year or early next year.
Fantastic.
So, it's all in the pipeline.
That has everybody happy, I'm sure. Stas, where is the best place to follow the progress of Wadzpay?
Sure, yeah. So, of course, I love talking about the marketing of Wadzpay. Social media is, of course, the best channel, whether you're following us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We also have the unofficial Telegram group, which is where all of the discussions happen. We have nothing to do with it. It's fully moderated by the community, and we love what they are doing. We have our official announcement channel on Telegram as well, where we just make announcements. We are also launching a forum by the end of this month, which will be our official forum on our website, which is where people will be able to ask some of the more complicated questions and get directly in touch with us, and we have community managers on board that work with us, which will address any of those requests. The other thing I just wanted to mention as well, on marketing generally, it's been quite a ride, and it's very interesting because not to toot our own horn, but we do things very differently versus, I think, everyone else in the digital currency space. Because when we came into it as well, and we talked to a lot of people from very top tier digital currencies, and everyone kind of had a checklist by which they wanted to go to. You need airdrops, you need influencers to create content for you. You need to have a Reddit channel. You need to have this, and it's like a very by the books checklist on what you need to do in order to essentially pump their token. We don't do any of that, essentially. We focus on our base business, as I've always maintained. We don't give investment advice. We don't do anything like that. And our rationale and our thinking when it comes to marketing is actually looking at the world outside of digital currency, whether it's in payments or any other space. Because essentially, if you're looking at companies that have been very successful over time, and let's say use Tesla as an example, they never market their stock. They market their base business and their company. And that's the approach that we've taken since day one. And what we think happens with those digital currencies to follow that checklist approach towards airdrops and blah, 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 all those kind of more gimmicky sort of approaches is in the very short term, yes, they can affect their stock price, so to speak. But in the long term, people aren't with you for the project. They're essentially in there for pricing reasons. We want people to commit to our project and be interested in that project for what we are trying to do, what we are trying to do in the payment space, and how we are trying to transform people's lives on a day-to-day basis. So it's a more ambitious effort. For this reason, for example, we debuted, as I mentioned before, the Make Every Moment Special with Wadzpay campaign, our Wadzpay Moments bread and butter, we're trying to create and express special moments that occur in people's lives about how transformational payments can be, how that special moment becomes a lifelong memory. And that is incredibly important for us. So through that campaign, we've reached over 10 million people. And sure, it's not, so to speak, crypto marketing. It's the marketing that you see in the FMCG world, in the payment space, in all the other spaces. So that's a clear delineation versus what I think everyone else is doing and what we are trying to focus on. And with Moments as well, we're happy to say that we've produced a couple of commercials as well, which will be launching very soon. They're beautiful pieces of work, really, again, explaining how payments can make every day special.
I think the approach of what you're taking in terms of doing it as a focus on the business first, and then instead of some crypto projects are not focusing on business. They're focusing on their token, and so I think that, as you said, the community is smart enough and astute enough within the fintech space that they understand that focusing on the business is really, at the end of the day, what brings the utility and is the most important. So I think you're doing it right. Yeah.
So there are also a couple of things on the progress, and I've been asked by the team as well sometimes that why aren't we letting lots of information out, and why aren't we saying that who we are partnering with, etc. We, as I said, that we work with the regulators, we work with financial institutions, and they're all very guarded when it comes to programs which are not live or fully live or in a sandbox state. And there have been instances where people have tried to reach out and ask us questions, and we've kept quiet because we don't want to engage in those discussions because it's important from an NDA standpoint, and especially also what we're trying to do, because there are lots of discussions at various levels of discussion and at various levels of maturity, etc. But rest be assured, we will do a much better job when something can be made public. It will be made public through all our channels. Like Stas said, we are launching the portal, and we will like to update the community a lot better on what we are doing and where we are in terms of technology and development, because that's internal to us. But on the partnership front, we will continue to update as and when anything can be made public. It will be made public.
Yeah, I think everybody respects that. So when are you coming to Tokyo? And when you do come to Tokyo, what is it that you want to eat in Tokyo?
Everything to eat in Tokyo, because everything is delicious in Tokyo. I wish we could be in Tokyo pretty soon, very soon. It's one of the most amazing cities. The last time I was in Tokyo was 2015, and I did my New Year's over there. And it's such an amazing place. Japan is one of my favorite places to go. The weather, the food, the people, and everything. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Tokyo sometime in the near future as we expand into North Asia and we start moving to Korea, Japan, etc. But yeah, looking forward.
Yeah,
Sushi ichiban suki desu.
Ichiban suki desu.
Sushi is my favorite. So yeah, I can understand some Japanese.
Wow. Yeah, very jozu desu. Very, very good. Very skilled.
But having said that, every time I'm in Tokyo, there is one thing that I have to eat. Sometimes I go and eat it twice a day. And there's a specific Tonkatsu restaurant in Takada Nababa. It's called Narikura. So they've changed management. It's still pretty good though. They've improved their queuing system as well. I used to literally queue up for over an hour just to eat it. It's special because I think sushi, you can still get decent sushi in other places, but getting next level tonkatsu is something else. And we've taken a guy who's a very good friend of ours to this place, and he's an older gentleman, and he almost had tears down his eyes. And I was like, this is the best I've ever had in my entire life. So anyone in Tokyo must go there.
Yeah, that's the Waseda University neighborhood, and so the food there is very competitive because the students are on a budget, but the students in Tokyo are still very, very picky, right, for their meals. And they miss their mom's cooking very often. So there's a lot of really, really good restaurants up in that part of Tokyo. But I think if I were to take you to a tonkatsu, we're going to go to Meguro. We're going to go to a place called Tonki. So just remember
I've
that
been there.
one.
Yes,
Have you been to Tonki?
It's great, yes.
That is amazing, right?
Yeah.
That's another place that starts to queue up at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Amazing place. Well, I hope that I get the chance to eat with both of you here. Is there anything that I forgot to talk about that you really want to be sure to let everyone in the community know?
Well, there's a lot which is going on, and during this trip we have signed up an MOU with a gaming aggregator in Saudi Arabia and Egypt, and so that's something which is very interesting. We will be making probably one more announcement, if not two, by the end of this month, and one is with a very large bank with presence in 11 countries in Middle East and Africa. So stay tuned.
That's big. You have a lot going on, and by the end of this month, that only leaves just a couple of weeks. That is exciting. Yeah, superb. Well, congratulations to all your success, and congratulations to building out your team and to making this incredible transformation for everybody, because you are bringing an enhancement to everybody's lives. So I want to say thank you very much. Yeah, it's been quite amazing and fun to chat with you. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eri.
Yeah,
thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
All right, we talk to you soon. Do take care.
Thank you.
Sayonara
Bye-bye.
for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.